it that you feel called you to this path? Is it that it is inherently about a duality and that resonated with you? What other aspects of your spiritual path have really spoken to you that made you believe that this was actually right for you?
Well,
do you think of it as a conversion?
no, not really. It's more of settling into.
Okay, like a homecoming.
A homecoming, yeah. That's what a lot of people within our community, once they get into it, they feel, I've come home. It's an understanding, like, you're kind of like, I don't know, describing, maybe you're driving in a car with one flat tire, and then all of a sudden someone fills it up for you, and you're rolling around. It's like, oh, it doesn't feel bumpy. Not to say that the other way was wrong, it just didn't feel comfortable for you. So it's that essence of just, oh, okay, I got a smooth ride now. I get it. Oh, but it isn't smooth because it's a very challenging path, and you are tested and tested and tested. So
the most rewarding spiritual journeys do entail some challenge.
Yeah, because then otherwise, why are we here on this planet?
Yeah, if it was all smooth all the time, not only would it be boring, but kind of pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Franco also does house clearing. So what is that like? What is it like to go into a house and feel its energy, and how do you decide what kind of energy it actually needs? What is that whole process like?
Haven't you ever walked into a room or someone's house and, like, especially, like, let's say it's a couple going through a divorce or about to go, you know, like really rocky times, and you walk in, they invite you over, oh, come on over for dinner, and you walk in and you feel like, I really don't want to be here, right? You get that gross feeling, right? And a lot of that is, and I believe, and again, this is my belief system, you don't have to believe this, but
I love it that you're so, what is it, Canadian. That's it. We're so Canadian that way, like, you know, it's just me, and hey, this is what I think. Okay.
No, but it is. Everyone's got their own personal journey and understanding of the universe. And that's great, as long as you don't go chopping people's heads off or burning them at the stake for their other beliefs, right? So,
and everybody has a right to change their mind and decide what's right for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even in this spiritual path that I'm taking, it's like I've made changes. I've kind of diverged and gone and kind of reorganized things. I've been taught by some, you know, pretty wise people, and yet I've taken whatever they taught me and kind of changed it. So anyway, so you walk into this room and it feels crappy. And I believe that sometimes there's an energy there already, and it likes that type of feel, so it brings that out in couples or people, whoever's in there. So like if there's an energy entity that believes in anger, it'll start making you angry, and you live off of it because it feeds off of you, and then the more you feed it with your anger, it builds and builds and builds. So that's one type of energy that you can clear out. So that's what we call elementals, or not as in elements of fire, water, earth, and air elementals, which are in the pagan practice, where you can call these, which are kind of equivalent to angels. You know, they're just land spirits or energetic spirits devoted to fire, water, earth, and air. I know this is getting confusing, but they're basically little beings that go around, and they have a certain feel or an energy. Some of them can be good, some of them can be bad.
Yeah, well, we can just call it energy, right? And whether it's energy, whether you understand it as something you're putting out, or whether you understand it as something with its own agency and external, for sure, yeah, you can walk into rooms and feel what kind of energy is there.
Yeah. So what you want to do is you want to get rid of the stuff that brings people down and is counterproductive to them. Get rid of that. Then there's ghosts, and those aren't bad. Sometimes they hang around, but sometimes they need to go. Then there's the poltergeists, who are actually the active ghosts, who turn lights on and off, and I remember...
And they make movies about them, and they put blood all over your walls. And
well, no, a lot of them don't normally.
No, I'm joking.
But some of them are pretty bad, actually. And it was funny. I remember one of the first ones I saw, and I had to learn to trust myself because, you know, I'm a type of person who never, I don't have very much faith in myself at times.
Really?
Yeah.
But doesn't it require a lot of self-faith to even divine? To be a reader, to be an astrologer, to read tarot cards, it involves self-trust.
That's one of my lessons, right?
Yeah.
So I have to learn that. So
well, you are learning that.
Yes.
You're just strengthening that. You're demonstrating that all the time.
So one of the things that, where I had to take that leap of faith and say, I did see that. I was going through someone's house and was kind of getting a tour, and it was this person's childhood home, and I saw a woman by a chair, an old woman. I did a double take and I go, huh, okay, that's funny. And so we continued through the tour, and this person's brother had been there with his wife, living at that house for a while their house was being built. And I remember saying to them, I go, okay, I'm going to jump out and say this. I go, you know what, you have a ghost in that house? And the wife said, thank you so much. I thought I was losing it. And I go, what do you mean? She goes, I go upstairs, I draw the blinds at night, I come up in the morning, they're open. Lights would be turned off, and all of a sudden be turned on, and then they were turned off. It drove her nuts. She's going like, but I thought I shut this off. I thought it was open, and you know, whatever. And she thought she was losing it. It's kind of like I'm becoming senile.
So it must have been really validating for her.
Oh yeah, she was quite happy to understand that there was a ghost. I go like, yeah, it's an old lady just sitting there.
But I must say, it is like at least the humility with which you describe these experiences. It is very refreshing. I will say that. That's one thing I always love about Franco, is that he knows that he can trust himself, but he has the humility that makes somebody really good. Myself, Franco writes horoscopes. We are both sun sign columnists, and you're a very beautiful writer.
In the loop with astrology, like I keep forcing myself to do it and think it, and the only problem is I'm usually 4 or 5 months ahead, so I don't know where the planets are today because I'm thinking, oh, isn't Pluto here? Oh, no, that's right.
Yeah, the same thing happens with me because I have to write the daily column about a month in advance. Yeah, I'm always thinking, oh wow, Pluto's doing this right now, and it's like, no, actually it isn't yet.
Exactly.
So that contributes to our visionary-ness.
Yes.
Let's just say that. Perfect. It makes us more futuristic. Yes. And so what about doing consultations? How is that different?
Actually, I don't view it very much different. Now, you're talking horoscope or in any type of consultation?
Ah, well, with you, we can never be sure, right?
No, as far as horoscopes go, horoscopes, I find when you do divination with someone, or a reading with someone, you're looking at the chart of the moment because you pull in the transits and all the progressions and the solar arc progressions, and you superimpose it onto the chart. And you get a snapshot of what's going on for that person. So you got to learn how to describe it, and I think that's where writing the sun sign column forces you. I've never been very eloquent. I can spout off at the mouth any time. That's my Mercury square Mars, so it allows me to go boom, think, right? And sometimes, also being the Aries, it's sort of like, okay, foot out of the mouth, but the writing the horoscope allows you to kind of like come up with ways to describe things. So you got to put it down on paper. It's different than just saying it, because you got to really structure your